How bad do you want it? That's the question. What are you willing to give up for your dreams? You know, there's an old saying, I believe it's a Hebrew saying, as far as when you want to receive something else, you have to release, you have to let go of what you're already holding on to. So I'm asking you, how bad do you want it? And we live our lives feeling dissatisfied, relationally, financially, health. We're getting old. We're not happy with our jobs, our finances. We're just not making enough money. We have so many issues in life that we would like to change. But again, I ask you, how bad do you want it? What are you willing to give up? Certain things require more than just a desire. They require action. You know, I know there's this popular term being used today by so many folks about being woke, understanding what's really going on. Okay, but what I want to suggest is woke isn't enough. Woke without works is worthless. What are you willing to put your hand to do? I think what we found, you know, in civilized, developed nations where we don't really have to suffer or scrape to survive, we get sort of spoiled. And we don't really want to take the time to do what it takes. We just want what we want. And that is one of the drawbacks of being in a developed nation, you know, with a pocket full of money or a piece of plastic in your wallet, is that most of the time you can get what you want. You do have to pay later. But see, we don't worry about that so often. But what I'm suggesting today, if you want a substantial change in your life, if you want your life to be drastically better, adjusted, you're going to have to adjust. And it's really not difficult. It's the reason it's difficult is because the lifestyles that we live it's like an addiction, okay? An addiction in the sense that there are things that we want, and often the things that we want are not the things that we need. In other words, there are things that we need, and we believe that there's a particular path to get to the things that we need, but it's the wrong path. It's a path that will often satisfy immediately the need, but payday is right around the corner. We're going to have to pay the piper. And so what I want to suggest today is that we have to have a bit of patience. We have to be able to sacrifice, and the reward will be later. I know that's difficult. Let me give you an example for myself. You know, I was a young man, left home at 17, joined the military, and I was just living a casual, carefree life, like most people. Not really saving money like I should, but just living day to day, enjoying myself. But at the end of the day, there was nothing to show for it. I didn't have much in my savings, if anything. Living paycheck to paycheck. I was going out a lot. I was in clubs and bars, and meeting people. Had a lot of acquaintances. And that was it. Day to day, looking forward to the next payday. What am I going to do on payday, and how long will I make that money stretch out? And so we want to zip forward to today. My life is totally secure. Financially, relationally, health, everything. Now how did that happen? You know, I have a saying within my family, is that it doesn't just happen, and it doesn't. When I was 28 years old, that's 11 years after I had left home to join the military, I had an epiphany. was like a revelation, a reality that something was wrong, something wasn't quite right in my life. The direction I was going, it wasn't fulfilling. Now, I really wasn't feeling like it wasn't fulfilling. It was just a moment I just realized that a change had to happen. 28 years old. I got up the next morning and I began walking through my apartment, looking at everything in my apartment that I loved. I had trophies, baseball, bowling, karate trophies. I had a jazz album collection. I had things I had picked up in Korea, things I had picked up in Japan. All these things that were so special to me. Jazz album collection, switchblade collection, all this cool stuff. The things that I loved, the things that really I felt had defined me. But at that moment, the realization that those things that had defined me weren't satisfactory, the defined life that they represented was not satisfactory to me. I couldn't live like this for the rest of, I was going to get old one day. So as I walked through my apartment looking at all these things that I loved, all these things that were important to me, I gathered them all up and took them out to the dumpster and threw everything away. It's like I took my entire life, everything that defined me, everything that I could identify with, that made me me, I threw them all away that day. Now, I have to admit, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what was going to become of me. All I knew was that was no longer me. I had to let go of what I was holding on to before I could even have an inkling of an understanding of what it was that I was meant to be. And you know what I didn't know? I didn't even know then. I didn't know 5 months after that. I didn't know 7 months, a year, 2, 5 years after that. I didn't know. All I knew was that was not the right direction. That was not, the person that I was not satisfactory, was not satisfying to me. That was not the person I wanted to be. The results in my life were not the results that I wanted to have. So I didn't know where I was going. But I just knew I was no longer going there. And so that's why I posed the question, is that how bad do you want what you want? What are you willing to sacrifice? Because the reality is that the hardest thing in the world to do is to change yourself. Because you are you. I spent years going to juvenile detention, 17 years. I missed 4 weeks in 17 years going to juvenile detention, talking to those young people, trying to encourage them, trying to mentor them, trying to help them see another way. But the hardest thing for me, even when I wanted to give advice, every week I'd go in there with advice, with tidbits, with suggestions for life. But when a new crew would come in, I would have to spend half of the day trying to express to them that the life they were living was not the life that they were supposed to be living. Now, they had just filed into a gymnasium wearing the little orange jumpsuits, guarded, sitting in chairs before me. You'd think they would have realized that that wasn't the life that they were intended to live, but they were totally satisfied because that's all they knew. And so what I'm suggesting is that maybe our lives or your life isn't as drastic a situation as their lives were, but the reality is whatever you are, your existence, that's who you believe you are until you come to point to realize this is not who you desire to be. You're stuck. You're just going to be a person in that life disappointed because these are the cards that I was dealt. But what I'm telling you today is that you can cash in that deck of cards and get a new deck. But you have to make that decision. And so I'm not suggesting that you go through your house and pick out all the things that you love, gather them all together and throw them in the dumpster. But what I am suggesting is that would not be a bad idea. Because you have to come to the point to recognize, look, life is a journey. We've all heard that. But it's one journey. There may be turns, there may be bends, there are people that come along the path of your journey, sometimes for short, some for long. But the reality is your life is your journey, and it's just simply going in one direction. Some of the things you might come across are simply the things that you've been coming across, simply because that's the life, that's the path that you've chosen to walk, that's the way you've chosen to walk. There's an old saying that if a person who wants let's see, we want to get different results, but you keep doing the same things. That's the definition of insanity. So like I've known people that keep getting in relationships that are destructive, that are not fulfilling, and they end up ending. Okay, males and females alike. Well, the reality is when you're attracted to the same type individual, why would you think you're going to get different type results? Okay. So this guy might like this girl, that picking up in the clubs and with this kind of attitude, likes to do this, likes to drink, likes to go out and all that kind of stuff. But the results from multi-relationships, they keep breaking up. You have the same results. Why is that? It's because you're attracted to the same type individual. And that's what you keep going after. The results are the same. The girl is as well. Might like the bad boy or might like the thug or whatever, you want to call it. If you continue going after that particular individual, you're going to keep getting the same results. So there has to come a time you have to realize that this person that you've bought into, this person that you thought it's not the person you are or not the person you want to be. So you have to stop making the same choices. You have to gather, it's almost like the symbolic, gather everything up in your house and take it to the dumpster. Who you are. You have to change. That's the most difficult thing in the world. Sometimes I would tell the kids at detention, I said, you need to just close your eyes and find a way to step out of yourself and look at yourself and ask yourself, is this the way life is supposed to be? And you know what? Most of the time that did not work. They just couldn't see it. It's the most difficult thing to do. You just have to come to a point. What I'm suggesting is gather everything together in your house. Just throw it away, and that is everything that's about you. Now let me share, when I say everything in the house, it was everything in the house. There was like an echo in my house after that. And I was 28 then. I'm in my 60s now. I have no regrets. No regrets. But that wasn't all that had changed. I was drinking a lot back then. I mean, I had a good job. I was in corporate America. I worked for NCR Corporation. I was wearing a three-piece suit and a little hat with a feather in it, trench coat and a briefcase back in those days, But my life, to me, it just wasn't satisfying. It wasn't fulfilling. And I didn't really know why. I was just continuing down that same path because that was my life, but I was not fulfilled. I'll tell you how you know you're not fulfilled. If you're getting a buzz, if you're getting high, why are you getting high? Why do you need to take yourself out of reality to feel happy? Why are you drinking alcohol? Why do you have to deaden your brain in order for you to feel satisfied in life, in order for you to feel happy, in order for you to be laughing? The food, the same. Some of us indulge so much in food before we're content, before we're happy. Why are we obsessed with these things? Because we don't have a contentment in the life that we're living. These are the signs that there's something wrong. So when I made that change that day, it was a cold January morning. I was 28 years old. When I got up that day, the man I was when I went to bed that night was a different man than when I got up in the morning. I didn't get that buzz anymore. I didn't drink alcohol anymore. I stopped going out to the clubs. I was going to the clubs every night of the week. I stopped going to the clubs. All the destructive things in my life that I was aware of, I just stopped doing that day. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want things to change? Now zip again, many years later, I was in my 50s, early 50s, late 40s. Life had just come together very well. But again, it just didn't happen. There has to be a change. There has to be a change of trajectory. You could aim a little rocket if it had enough power. You could do the calculations and figure to get this rocket to the moon. You could do the math, come out exactly right. I would suggest using a computer. And it will make it. It will land right on that moon. But if you move that little rocket just over 2 inches, you think 2 inches isn't much? It'll just be 2 inches when it lands on the moon. No, you'll miss the moon completely because you'll change your trajectory and the distance, the time that it has to go, it will not reach the moon. You'll miss the moon totally. So what I'm suggesting is there has to be an adjustment. If you want a different result, there has to be an adjustment here. And so all those things, all these things that we're doing. So now, today I'm well. And the path to wellness is fun. Now, it can be aggravating sometimes because it doesn't come exactly as quickly as you need it to be, but you don't focus on that. You just focus one day at a time. Don't smoke. Don't drink. Try not to cuss too much. And let me tell you this, some of the issues that we have are mental issues that are chemically related because of the diets, because of the foods that we're eating. Change your diet. Begin eating healthy foods. Stop smoking. Stop smoking cigarettes. Stop smoking weed. Stop drinking alcohol. All these things, your finances are going to straighten up. Your mind is going to get clear. You're going to be able to see things just a little bit differently. So I'm telling you, if we're looking for relationships, okay, let's just break it down. Let's just narrow it down into particular things. Relationships. Our relationships keep ending, keep messing up, and they never last and all. Why? Because you're going to the same source. So when you stop drinking, stop going to clubs, if that's where you're meeting the women, or that's where you're meeting the guys, you'll no longer be meeting those type people. Take a class. Go to the local community college. So now you're not getting that buzz. You're not getting high. You're trying to be healthy. You're going to school. And guess what? Who are the people that are going to school as well? People that are trying to better themselves. These are the type of people that you want to focus on. These are the type of people that you want to have friendships with. There's an old religious saying that says, iron sharpens iron. It does. You're going to rise or fall to the level of your acquaintances. So be intentional about the acquaintances. Go where the people are positively focused, going in a positive direction, having aspirations for their lives to be something better. So you've not only now begun to clean up your own life, take the things out of your own life that have led you in the wrong direction or given you poor results, and now you're placing yourself in a place of positivity, and now you're finding yourself in relation, going to school with, with similar aspirations and goals, with people that are well, people that are healthy, people that want to do better. So that's the key. What you've done is you've just adjusted the type of people that you're interacting with, people that are more positive minded, people that are trying to better themselves. So there's nothing better than having two people, you and an individual, that are both on the same path, trying to do better for yourselves, not simply confused, living in this pseudo happy world of that buzz. Okay. So let's see here. So your health is very important. Start changing your diet. I mean, you say, well, what's all this got to do with my life? What's all this got to do with my finances? Well, if you stop getting that buzz, you're going to have more money left over, okay? First of all, you're not spending the money on weed. You're not spending the money on alcohol. You're not going out, cover charges, buying rounds, buying money, giving out tips in the clubs. You're saving a whole lot of money. I know I did. And so then you're more clear-minded. So now you're going, well, I'm going to try to be healthy as well. So I'm going to start eating healthier foods. Now, some folks say, it costs more money to eat healthy foods. But what I'm suggesting is that no, it only costs more money to eat healthy foods if you're still buying the unhealthy foods. The key is you replace the unhealthy food, just like you've done in your life. You've replaced your friends with these friends over here. You've replaced the places you go with these places over here. You replace the food that you eat with the healthy food. So you're not spending the money on healthy foods and your unhealthy foods. You're just spending money on your healthy foods, and you're getting healthy. And what I'm suggesting is, as you get healthy, you're going to begin to feel better. You're going to be feeling a confidence. You're going to be feeling a clarity of mind. You're going to be thoughtful about things. And you're going to be bringing on good things into your life. And guess what? As you begin to get healthy, you're going to start looking better. You're going to start losing weight. You might even start putting up, a little bit of muscle. Do some exercises at the same time. This is that lifestyle change. See, when you're smoking weed, when you're drinking alcohol, when you're going out every night, there's no time for good health. There's no time for the gym. There's no time for exercise. There's no time for education, for any of these things that are benefiting you to make you a better person. You've just changed all that. You're looking better. You've gotten more confidence. You're going to be attracting the right kind of people because you got other people out there just like you that have decided, I'm going to stop going after the destructive people as well. So now you have two of you. A whole bunch of you. I'm in school, looking to better your lives, looking to stay away from that which have dragged you down. You're more attractive to the right people. And you're clear-minded. Come on now, when we get that buzz, you're not thinking clear-minded. You're in the club, you have 3, 4, 5, 6 drinks. Who are you going home with? That's not clear-minded thinking. But when you're clear-minded, when you don't have that buzz, when you're getting healthy, when you're saving up more money, when you're going somewhere positive, like to school or something, or even the library, man, you're in a whole new place with more opportunities. Now I want to suggest that don't just go to those places looking for conquest, because you'll find yourself back in that same mess you're in. You want to be well in your life, and you want to be the good person. Be the good person. I don't know if this is just more of a guy thing, but we have to understand that what goes around comes around. Guys and girls both, okay? Don't be the bad person. What goes around does come around. Newton's third law isn't simply about objects. Every action, creates an equal and opposite reaction. No, that is a reality in life, that whatever you do is coming back to you. So we have to stop using people, stop trying to harm people, stop thinking so much of ourselves and less of other folks, because that in itself is screwing yourself up as well. Be the good guy. Always be the good guy. I'll tell you what helps is really being selective about the people you hang out with. I used to work with this person, my friend. They're really negative, really harsh, always talking about people, always negative, always negative like that. And I'd find the more that I hung out with that person, I began to adapt some of those traits. I began to be negative. I began to talk about people. I had to remove myself from that individual, although they were my friend. So when I talk about cleaning out your house, getting all those things that you no longer want to identify with, it has to do not only with that stuff, it has to do with your health and your habits as well, getting rid of those things, but as well your acquaintances. Iron does sharpen iron. You can't be sharpened by people who are living lives in such a manner that is destructive, because that will bring you into where they're at as well. Not only does iron sharpen iron, things that are not iron will dull you. You will become like your acquaintances. So be selective. Get rid of all that. Get rid of the people too. Put them out of your life. It's a way. So again, I'm just suggesting, and asking, how bad do you want it? You got to want it pretty bad. And so although people say, well, you didn't have to throw all your stuff away, I did. And I'm suggesting you do too. Because how many times do we attempt to do things and we fail? I'm saying that we fail because we don't really make the commitment to succeed. Throw all that stuff away. You need to go through your house. Begin to pick out the things that have defined you, the things that you have loved that have no real monetary value to you, but have an emotional attachment that is not positive. You want to change who you are, get rid of your stuff. I'll tell you a good exercise, go in your garage. If you have a garage, all that junk in there, or if you have a room like that with all your stuff in there, just throw everything out. Get rid of everything and just start over. Start over. And then begin to accumulate again, but be more selective what you accumulate. Because, see, before this conversation, we all do, we just accumulate all the stuff that's important just throughout our lives. As we move on, as we go here, we go there, we drag all this stuff with us. Guess what? That's called baggage. And so all those things in your life, the baggage that you've carried with you, that are in your garage, that are in your room, that are in your living room, that are even in your life, in your relationship, and in your habits, that's all baggage. You gotta let that baggage go. I know it's comfortable. And it reminds you, you look at it and you remember the days and all that stuff, but is that who you really desire to be still today? And you might say yes. And so this message then isn't for you. This message is for folks who are tired of the results that they've garnered in their lives. They're tired of the relationships that they've been attracted to or that have been attracted to them. They're tired of the lack of relationships, of being lonely. Tired of being out of shape, overweight or underweight or underdeveloped, whatever it is you're tired of. Tired of having no money or not having a good job or just whatever, you're not appreciating where you live, wanting to live somewhere nicer, whatever it is. And there's an old saying, an old Asian saying, that every journey, a journey of 1,000 miles, begins with that single step. That's not exactly the quote. That's what's been evolved into. The actual quote is, the journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath your feet. Beneath your feet. And sometimes you have to walk alone for a time. It's like any journey to any destination. It's not like you just, I want to change, so now I'm there. There's a path to get there. And it's very difficult to know the path, but what you can know is those things that are detractors to that path. Addictions. Whatever the addictions are, whether it's addiction to people, a certain type of person, addictions to foods that are unhealthy, addiction to drugs and to alcohol, addictions to a way of life that's comfortable. These things have to be beat. They can be beat. So I'm just suggesting, I'm giving you an encouragement. Look at me. Look at me. It's possible. And what I'm suggesting today is, when you make a change like this, when you make a determination, how bad I want this change, I'm going to make the change. I'm going to do what's necessary. I'm going to get rid of all my stuff. Get rid of the stuff in your house. Get rid of the stuff in your life. Get rid of the people in your life that are not conducive to the person you desire to be. That don't represent the person you desire to be. And once you make that move, you're going to be, right then you're going to be a whole new person. You're going to be freed. It's a freedom. There's a freedom in releasing all your stuff. I was free that morning. And then from then on, you're building off of a free, off of a clear, off of a pure foundation. And now you're being very selective to the things that you bring into your life. So you've cleared out all the junk that you've just accumulated over time. That's in the natural, in spiritually, relationally. And now that you've cleared all the way, now you're very selective of the things that you place in your life. No, I don't want that. Now that person's got some issues that I don't need in my life. Now I'm not even going to take a hit off that joint. I'm not even going to drink a glass of alcohol with that person. Just, why would I? Why would you? Because I'm going to share with you right now, misery does love company. And you're going to find people are always going to want to try to entice you to do what they're doing. Now, it's not for your benefit. It's for their benefit, for their comfort, to satisfy that they are in a place that they're in, and they don't need to change because they found people that will join them in their dysfunction. Don't fall for it. Be selective. How's that? We'll come back a little bit later, talk about some other ways to ensure that your life is fulfilled. Man, life is just too short to waste it